Hey, Soul Warriors. This is Jessica Noel, and I'm coming at you with season 2, episode 12 of my podcast, Uncovering Your Authentic Soulful Self. And today in season 2, episode 12, we're going to be talking about who are you? So let's go ahead and, if it's possible for you, to take a moment to tune in, to get very present, to close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And if you can't close your eyes, just follow along. And now just start breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Slow, long, deep breathing. See if you can drop your energy from the thinking mind, the doing mind, the heart center. Allow your heart center to open wide. Allow it to heal, to purify, to clear, to open. So you can receive this information through your heart, through your soul's resonance, so that you can easily feel and know truth when it is spoken or shown to you with clarity. And you can receive the energetic transmissions as well for healing, for freedom, for love and support. Really feel the surface that you're on, feel yourself in your body. Let yourself relax on the surface that you're on. Feel yourself fully present in this moment. Good. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Good. So first I want to start with a story that I recently heard. As many of you know from the previous podcast episodes, I've talked about several teachers that I have, and one of them is still in physical. And his name is Paramahamsa Prayanananda. He was recently in town, and I was able to spend some time with him recently. So I want to actually relay a story that he shared with the group about a tiger. And so I want to give you the story because it's very relevant as I was called to speak on this topic. Who are you? That story came forefront in my mind as a good example of a place to start. So I'm going to just give you sort of the cliff notes and the pieces that are the most relevant to shorten the story. So basically, this tiger was birthed by his mother tiger, and she died during childbirth. So he was there alone as this baby cub. He didn't have his eyes even open yet, and he was taken by a human that lived nearby, from my recollection of the story. And basically, this human was raising all these sheep. So he was raised with sheep from birth, basically, and he was given sheep's milk. So naturally, he believed himself to be a sheep. And he was a vegetarian, so he was a vegetarian tiger, and eating the diet of sheep, doing the things that sheep do. And pretty soon, as he grew up, he was happy, he was a sheep, everything was fine. And as he grew up, he encountered a tiger, and the tiger said, "What are you doing with all these sheep?" And he was like, "Well, I am a sheep." And the tiger's like, "No, no, you're not a sheep." So he takes the tiger and he gives them some leftover meat that they had just recently eaten. And so he gives them some scraps of meat. And the tiger's like, "Well, I'm vegetarian." And so he's like, "No, no, you're not a vegetarian. You're a tiger. You eat meat." And so pretty soon, with this tiger, also brings him to a nearby pond, and he says, "Look in the reflection here. What do you see?" And he says, "Well, it looks like a tiger, but I'm a sheep." And so he's seeing this reflection, but inside he sees that he's a tiger, but inside he still feels like a sheep, right? So after some time of this tiger showing him the ways of tigers and him spending some time with tigers, he drank a little bit of blood with the meat that the tigers had as well, the tigers do. And pretty soon this tiger asked him again, like, well, so who are you? And so he stretches and he says, I am Tiger. So he finally realized who he truly was, right? He realized himself to be Tiger. So just sit with that story and think about what meanings that might have for you in your path and who you are. Good. So I feel like it's very helpful as we discuss who you are to also talk about who you are not. So the first part I want to talk about is your mind. So I want to ask you, like, are you your mind or are you not your mind? So many of you will say with at least an intuitive awareness or intellectual knowing that you are not your mind, that you are separate from your mind in some way. But what happens is so many people, they merge with their minds. They become ones with their mind. They feel that they are, in fact, their mind. So when you're merged with your mind, you start believing all of these thought forms that come. And the thought forms are created by repetitive patterns of thinking, by the way that we were raised, by our parents or caregivers, by the environment that we're currently in, what we expose ourselves to, and the food we eat even affects it, but largely what we take in through our senses affects it. Like I said, who we spend our time with, and also the experiences we've had. So the traumas, the wounds, the difficulties that we've gone through in our life, they start to develop beliefs, and they start to create thought forms and patterns of thinking and ways of being, right? So all of these things are what the mind does. So we don't need to go against the mind, right? We don't want to go. That's not a good idea to go against the mind. So I'm going to just share with you my knowing about the mind so you can see if it resonates with you and if it's helpful for you, you decide. So with the mind, don't go against it. Understand that the mind is there to try to help you. So think of the mind. A helpful way I have found to think of the mind is like a computer program. So it is a computer and it's trying to actually help you by finding shortcuts. So it's in this default mode, right? And so it's like, let me find a shortcut so that when this happens, I automatically think and feel this. And so that can be really helpful because then you don't have to process as much information. But it's not helpful when these default patterns are not serving you and they're causing you pain, difficulty, or they're not based in the truth of who you are and of what you're really here to do, right? So those are the times where it's not helpful. So that's the times where you need to take it out of default mode and put it into manual mode. So keep in mind the mind is trying to help you by just sort of rattling off these things that it has learned from your life experience and from your environment. And so just decide with awareness, I'm going to stay present and aware, and I'm going to choose the mode of being that I want to be in. I'm going to start to master the mind. As you start to think about mastering the mind, something important to realize is how powerful the mind is. So the mind is so extremely powerful, and it can be used for helpfulness, for healing of yourself and others, and manifesting amazing things. And there's so many amazing, powerful things that the mind can do if properly wielded. But if not properly wielded or mastered, the mind can become destructive. So what do you need to do to master the mind? It's about creating this separation. So this is the mind here, right? So this hand is the mind and this hand is you. Let's talk about this hand as you, observer, consciousness. So as you watch the mind, and it's going about the patterns that it has learned, and some of them are incredibly wounded and unhealthy, and some of them might be very good and you want to keep. So it's going about these patterns, and you're just watching the thoughts like clouds going by, perhaps. You're just watching them pass. Pretty soon, as you start to watch them, another good tool is using your breath. Slow, long, and deep breathing creates a calmer, more peaceful mind. Therefore, it's easier to master and to direct, to do what you want it to do and to work for you, to serve you. So remember that the breath is tied to the mind directly. So the slower, longer, deeper the breath is, the more quiet and calm and still the mind becomes, therefore the easier to properly direct it in ways that are helpful and serving of you. When your mind is very active, you'll notice your breath is very shallow and short. So all you have to do is calm the mind through the breath. It's very simple, but it's not your knee-jerk reaction for many of you. One of my teachers has a saying that is breath mastery is self-mastery. It's very true, because self-mastery has to do with taking the mind and under your being a good master to the mind, and then everything else starts to fall into place. So it's very, very important as a starting point. So if you're not, so if you're observing the mind, keep in mind that it's going to be not necessarily all of the thoughts, right? You might go for like a length of time. Wonderful. So keep in mind any amount of observing the thoughts, even if it's like once or twice a week or like every once in a while, that's great. Just set it as your intention that you're really going to try to observe the mind as often as you can, and set that in every morning. Today, I'm going to observe the mind. I'm going to work towards quieting the mind, towards properly utilizing the mind to be of service to me. Don't come at it and try to fight it or stop the thoughts. I had somebody say that the other day, and that's pretty often I hear that, that they want to stop their thoughts. It's nearly impossible. Don't even try to stop it. Let it go. Just let it do what it's doing. What you're trying to do is start to direct it. You're trying to become a good master. Stopping the thoughts is like damming up an ocean. And we don't need to go against our mind. We just need to train the mind. Just start to train the mind to be helpful and assistant to you. Okay. And you're human. So having these thoughts and having these, if you have desires that are part of the thoughts, that might be part of a wound, or it might be just your human nature. So accept and love that, okay? Acceptance and love. Don't go against it. Don't be mad at it. Accept and love it. You are in a human body. This is normal. Just love it, accept it, and do the best you can. It's always good enough, okay? So as you start to do this, you can create freedom from the limitations of the thinking mind, right? So the mind, when it's not properly wielded or mastered, it can create these limitations because you have stored up all these beliefs based on your wounds, your patterns, your traumas, the things that were instilled in you. And so it creates those limitations. And as you start to master it and you start to allow those things to dissolve, then you start to realize this freedom. And you also might start to realize the power of the mind when it's properly utilized to be of service to you. So you're mastering it. And there are some incredibly profound, miraculous things that can be done with the mind when it's quiet enough, when you have mastered it enough, that defy physics as we know them, right? It doesn't defy quantum physics, but it defies what we know to be part of this reality. It is those miraculous, profound, magical types of things that can be done when we utilize the mind's power in the way that is helpful in serving us and others. Okay. If we think of the thinking mind, if the thinking mind is being controlled by wounds or traumas or limiting beliefs, we can think of that as a sickness in a way. Again, we're not going against the mind, but if we think of it as a sickness, what's the medicine? Well, the medicine is what we've already talked about, which is being a good master to the mind. So you give it projects, you watch it, and you use your breath control like we talked about. Don't try to stop it. That's like damming up an ocean. It's not possible to stop. Quiet it through watching, observing, using the breath. Talked at one episode pretty recently about we're doing it all to ourselves. So the illnesses, a lot of the illnesses, at least, a lot of the illnesses, a lot of the energetic blockages, we are literally harming ourselves, or we're standing in our own way through these not mastering our mind, through allowing these thought forms, through merging with these thought forms. So let me give you an easy example. So a lot of people, they don't love all parts of themselves, especially physically, right? So they look in the mirror and there's an instant judgment, and they might not even know they're doing it. Most people don't even realize that they're doing it because they're doing it for so long. It's automatic. So they look in the mirror and they think, oh, this is ugly. Oh, this is bad. Or this isn't good enough in this way or that way. So what they're doing is they're literally remember how powerful the mind is. That thought form is creating an energy, and the energy is going to that part of the body. So if you're thinking that's ugly or that's fat, let's talk about the fat one. Oh, that's fat. Why is it so big? You're like, so there's a couple people that come to mind that has like, they're worried about their belly being too big is their perception. So they're always think every time they look in the mirror, they're thinking that they're literally putting energy on their belly. So now their belly has an energetic blockage, and it's amplifying what they're thinking about, right? So their belly is actually getting bigger. I've literally seen people's bellies getting bigger through this type of process, and other things too that are similar. So as you think it, you're amplifying it. You're putting an energy there and you're amplifying. All you have to do is switch it. You can literally, the mind can create such powerful things, again, when properly wielded. So if you switch it and you say, oh, look how beautiful I am. Oh, look how like thin and lean and beautiful this body is. Then you can start to switch it. You can literally start to change the way that your body looks. You can change the how what age you look. You start changing your youth. It's literally can be that powerful. It can defy what we know as possible in the physical world. It can be what the world of miracles, right? As you break away from the limitations of what your beliefs have taught you is possible. So open up to new possibilities, open up to miracles. Good. So don't create energetic blockages, don't create illness by, or you can also remember something bad that someone did to you at a certain part of your body. And as you keep remembering it and replaying it, or thinking about whenever you think of that time, you're putting that energy back there. It can be cleared away instantly, but if you keep rethinking about it, you putting it back, you know, people do that in energy work sometimes. You'll do all this energy work and they're feeling wonderful, and then they put it back. They keep putting it, unless you work on changing their perspective and clearing those thought forms and helping the mind, they'll often put it back because it's a pattern response, and that's what they're used to doing. Okay, so bring their awareness to it, or clear that energetically as well. Good. So the next part goes to, let me just say one more thing. If you're having a negative emotion, if you're having these an activated mind, the way I was just describing, it's almost certain that you have an attachment, a desire, and or wounding, right? It's touching into either an attachment, a desire, a wound, a trauma, a limiting belief. There's a touch into something there. It's always going to be a really good information for you to know so that you can clear it away and heal it. And like I said, don't make it complicated. Be as simple as choosing differently, allowing light to fill the space, allowing your breath to move the energy. The breath can very much move prana, energy in your body. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, next part. You are not your trauma or past. Stop remembering. So this is a good word to highlight. So we talk about, oh, I remember this. Why? Why are you remembering something? Stop remembering these things. It's gone. It's done. So your mind keeps recreating. Why? That isn't helpful. Clean slate. Start with a clean slate and don't let the mind go to remember. And if it does, don't fight it. Gently bring it back. Oh, hey, you're remembering again. Come back and start to watch it. Breathe slow. I cannot stress the importance of breath. I don't know if I said this already. One of my teachers says, breath mastery is self-mastery, and it's 100% true. Okay. Watch the breath, slow, long, and deep, and through the nose, out through the nose is very helpful. It will quiet. Just be gentle. Love whatever comes up. If there is a desire, a wound, an attachment, a trauma that you're remembering, or the past that you're remembering, replaying, or having regret, guilt, whatever it is, love that too. Love is the most transformative force that there is. Love, love, love. And if you have a spiritual practice, you want to do prayer, meditation, if you do it with love, even just intend, I want to do this with love, even if you don't feel it yet, you will. You'll start to feel a welling up and you'll get instant results. The same thing as you turn that love to yourself. Oh, look at me. I'm in pain. I'm having these thoughts. Don't say I'm in pain. I'm feeling pain. I'm experiencing these thoughts. My mind is doing this, and love it. Okay. You can even visualize some white light filling as you love that part of you. So that kind of brings me to another part. You are already healed and whole. You just have to love and sit with all aspects of you. So sit with all the aspects of you and love each of them. Love all the parts of you. Love the part of you that might have an attachment or a desire or a wound or a trauma. Love that, love that. It's as simple as that. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I got to love it for long. It could be literally a few minutes and then you're done and it's cleared. So let it be easy. Again, your beliefs dictate your reality and what you're able to experience. If you can develop, or even you don't even have to develop a new belief that these things are possible. It's more like opening up to it. If you can open up to maybe it is, that often is even enough. Okay. Oh, good. You're not your body. Let's talk about that for a moment. You are not your body. One of the recent episodes, I was talking about like give this body to God. To when I say God, I mean that which is omnipresent love, that which is beautiful, positive, loving force in the universe. So give this body to God. Let yourself be a vessel for pure love, for God's love, for compassion, for all these beautiful things to flow through you, for healing to flow through you. Give this body to God as a vessel for that to flow through. It is a vessel for that, and you just forgot. So I want to pose that idea to you. Is it maybe that this is a vessel for the divine to flow through? Could it be utilized as that? And that it's not you, it's a vessel. And as you give that over, as you surrender that, very powerful things can happen. Miraculous things can happen. You're far more powerful than what you can even fathom. Just go into it, allow it to be. So start to pay attention to your speech. This was another thing I heard when I was with my teacher recently is he talked about speaking differently. So start to say, if you're having an illness in your body, okay, how about let's say it like that. You have an illness in your body or an injury. Don't say, I am injured, I am ill. Don't say, I am this, I am that. Say, my body is ill, I'm taking it to the doctor. My body is injured, I'm taking it to the doctor. Create the separation just like you did from your mind. Yes, it's your body, so you can say my body, but don't say I. Create the separation between you and your body. This body is something that you are in. You are in a human body, and you're going to take good care of it and love it very much and help it to be healthy. And it is your body. But speak like that about it. Don't become one with an illness or an injury or a physical issue of any kind, okay? My body is this, my mind is this even. So start to speak differently and you can start to feel separation. I once said that to a nurse practitioner years ago now. And I was talking about I was talking about something and I referred to it as it was something I was experiencing and I referred to it as not my. And they thought I was like dissociating because it was like, why are you, they even called, she even said something like, why are you dissociating from that? And it's like, well, why would I not dissociate? It's not me. That's not me at all. It's like, this is the experience, this is what's happening at the body, with the mind. But it's very funny because, it does sound a little different. It does sound like dissociation, but it is, but it's in a healthy way. That's not who you are, right? So don't speak like that to you, or just pay attention. Because as you speak, your subconscious mind and your mind hears you and starts to learn from that. So as you start to separate from it, the mind will also, oh, wait, that's not who we are. The mind, that's part of a way you can start to master your mind. Okay, so this movement just made me think of something. So go direct. I was shown an image earlier today of, it's like this circular sort of pattern. And yes, it's going up. So we're going through life and we're sort of circulating in these same types of experiences. And yes, they're getting better, maybe lighter, maybe less often. We are going the right direction, but we don't have to go through these sort of loops as we're moving upward. We can just go direct. So what does going direct mean and look like? That means praying, giving things to God, surrendering. So you need to make sure you develop and define whatever your relationship with the divine is. Like we talked about in the very first episode of season 1. What is your relationship with the divine? What names are you going to give it? I like to give it God, but that's not some man that sits on a throne in my mind. But that, if that's who yours is, that's okay too. So for me, it's an energy, but I use that word. Okay. So use whatever word represents that to you. Maybe it's some sort of master or an archangel that you want to connect with, or the universe. I would make it more broad than one being, than like one master or one, but start wherever you can. Okay. Go direct. Say, please take this from me. Like I talked about before with the experience I had, that's what I had to do. I had to turn it over. I had to surrender. Please take this, please lift this, help me. And I got help and I got it very quickly. A friend actually messaged not too long ago, and she was going through a lot of emotions that had come up. It was a core wound, and that was what came through to help her. Right? Is very simple. Get back to basics. Surrender it. Ask God to lift it. Give it to God. Because what happens is we accidentally start trying to take care of it ourselves. Try to take the control, take the reins. Oh, let me heal this and fix this myself. Especially people that are on a spiritual path often will do that. It's not yours to do. Surrender. You must have taken control back at some point. Mine must have gotten a hold and been activated by your wound or your trauma, what was touched into. Pray, surrender, slow, long, deep breathing, get back to basic self-care. Stay patient, wait for the emotion to pass before taking action. Okay, that's good. So we're here to help each other. So this friend and I can very much help each other at different times, right? So support each other on the path. It's not, there's no hierarchy, one person better than the other. It's like we need support at different times. You can alternate, okay? Sisterhood, brotherhood. Good. So you're not your body. Moving on to thousands of versions of you exist in the mind of others. So I want to talk about, I've talked about that recently, but I want to talk about it briefly here. None of those are you. Thousands of versions of you exist in the minds of others, and none of those are actually you. And I remember telling that to somebody several months ago, and it was a very painful realization for the person, because it was like all of a sudden their belief, their fantasy, and that's something I heard today, is that the mind tries to attach meaning. The mind tries to attach, the thinking mind tries to attach fantasy to it. Again, it's not your enemy, but it does try to attach these things to make sense of the world. So you just have to master the mind, get above it, watch, so that you are now the watcher consciousness, and try not to attach meaning, try not to make sense of so many things and fantasize. So this person had the fantasy that somebody, some soulmate, some person, was going to come about and fully understand them finally, and completely understand who they were and see all parts of them and all these things. And it's like, the truth is that there's thousands of versions of you that exist in the minds of other. None of those are you. So that's not really a real thing, right? You can have someone that has more of a similar view of you that you have, and that might be really helpful for you. Or you can have someone that has an even higher, we talked about this before too, has a higher view of you, that sees who you are more than you even do. So who you truly are, like your soul self. That's a beautiful connection when that happens. So understand though that, remember that we talked about, like, the lenses of all of us are clouded with our limiting beliefs, our distortions, our wounds, our traumas. So we see through those glasses, and it's not accurate. It's distorted through those things, okay? I want to also say that you can understand something mentally and logically, like, oh, I know that that's truth, but embodying that truth is very different. So when I speak of unconditional love, please, if you can, if you choose to, set that as an intention to unconditionally love everybody. Try to unconditionally love everybody. Set it as your intention, because you are moving towards it as soon as you do that. The moment you do that, you move towards it. Pray about it. You'll move towards it, and you'll do so very quickly. That's different though than embodying it. So the first thing has to happen is the intention, typically, and then you can start to embody it. So set it as an intention, you will embody it. And you don't think that you're going to have challenging experiences to be able to embody it. It can be instantaneous. I don't need to have challenging experiences all the time, and I don't all the time, and you don't have to either to learn things, okay? It could be instantaneous. It could just be all of a sudden you have a knowing and you have a way of being. It can be very simple, and it will be, okay? Good. You are not anyone but you. That's the next piece. Keep in mind that we all have different designs. We all have different purposes. We all have different paths. So don't look at someone else and say, I want that. I want to be them. I want what they have. Jealousy, all those types of things, because you're you for a reason, and you are very beautiful, unique, and more powerful than you could ever imagine. And you're not supposed to be anyone but you. So the goal is, rather than looking to the sides of you of other people, go direct and become who you are fully. Realize who you are fully, And that will be far more magnificent than anything that you're seeing outside of you. Far more. Good. So, how to realize who you are? We've already talked about several examples, and going direct is very helpful. Prayer and meditation is very key in going direct. Learning from everything that life brings about. What is this here to teach me? Is your question. Quieting the mind, slow, long, deep breathing. Like I said, meditation. I highly recommend Kriya Yoga. That requires an initiation, which there is actually one coming to Columbus in September. That's not something I initiate into. I highly recommend it. I do have a meditation technique and an initiation coming that I am doing that is not Kriya Yoga. It is different than that, and it is not a substitute, but it will be very beneficial and helpful for you. So if you want to do that, if you've called to do that, please do so. It will be helpful in this movement towards realizing who you are. Would be even great if you did both, if you did that one and then you moved into Kriya Yoga as well. But do whatever you're guided to. So that's part of why I'm called to offer this, is because people will be guided differently to different things. And some will be guided to this. Some people, there's many other paths, right, that can produce positive results. But there are some are slow, some are quick. Okay, this is a quick one. Kriya Yoga is a very quick one. It's like they call it the airplane route rather than walking. Walking takes too long. Okay, so back to how to realize who you are. Okay. There's kind of been a question posed about energy work, like how is wellness and energy work play into this? Well, it can be very helpful. You need to do your own self-love, becoming, if you're not comfortable being alone, being with yourself, there's a wound in there that needs healed. There's something that's in there. So just sit with all aspects of yourself, sit with that discomfort, love it, love it, love it, love it. Energy work with the right practitioner can be really helpful in helping to remove traumas. I do that a lot. I help people to clear beliefs. We find them in the body, we release them. Very simple process. The most important thing of whatever you do to help you to move towards who you are and what you're here to do, and to unlock your limitless capacity, possibilities, is going to be to notice your change. If you're getting energy work from me, from anyone, if you're doing any other kind of using any kind of tool, ask yourself, what is your change? Because some things are very transformative and very noticeable. So I would not be doing something if it wasn't bringing about change. I would do something different to make sure it was bringing about permanent change, right? So watch your change, notice your change. If there's not a change with what you're doing, you need to do something different, because even if, like, there are certain things that people might do where they feel really good for a few minutes afterwards or for a day, and then there's not really permanent results. So good, you just elevated your consciousness, but there's not anything lasting or permanent. Okay, so notice your change, and that's going to give you the information that you need. You're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not your emotions. You're not anyone else but you. Notice your change. Live more in the gratitude for life, for the changes you've made, for who you are. Think not about who you are not. Think not about what you still need to do or to be or to clear. Think about all the things that you have and have succeeded in and do have in your life, and be grateful. And that simply will magnetize that to you and raise your frequency and produce wonderful results. And love, 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 love. Good. So let's go ahead and wrap up. We're going to do something where we're going to untie the mind knot. So this is going to help you create the separation. So take a moment, close your eyes if possible. Start to take slow, long, deep breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. See if you can relax any muscles that feel tense right now. Really relax onto the surface that you're on. Feel the peace starting to move through your whole body. Calmness, stillness. Let the heart open and expand more fully, clear, heal, purify instantly. Breathe in and out through the heart. Good. And I want you to put your attention at the base of the skull. There's an energy center there, right at the base of the skull. Right there at the base of the skull, there's a little bony protrusion there. You can even touch it with your hand for a moment and then take it away. Just bring your awareness there, which is bringing your energy there. Breathe slow, long, and deep. Just going to untie the knot and open that energy center. Let it expand. You might feel sensation in your mind, in your head, even in your third eye, or see color. Good. And now we're just going to let the crown open wide, the top of your head open wide, and this waterfall of healing light pouring through your whole body. Out your palms, out the bottoms of your feet. It's purifying you physically, cellularly, also opening, healing all your energy centers and meridians. Just allow. Good. Seal that in with your intention, with your choice. You can even say in your head, I seal it in, I claim it as permanent. I allow more to continuously flow, more of this healing. And then feel your feet on the floor, grounding it in to the body, to the energy field. You can open your eyes. Good. So much love to you, so many blessings. As always, I've so enjoyed connecting with you, and I will so look forward to the next time. Bye for now.